In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to get the best weapons in the game, as well as comparing them through a variety of factors. I'll be ranking these weapons based on how the game calculates their damage, and also by comparing their respective advantages and disadvantages. I'll also show you how to maintain or get more of the weapons. At number 4, we have the Royal Guard's Pristine Claymore. To get the absolute maximum out of this weapon, you can fuse it to a Molduga jaw, and then use an armor set that has the bone proficiency upgrade. If you have the plus 10 attack upgrade, this gives you a base attack of 91, and a 1.8 times multiplier. This weapon also gains a 2 times multiplier when its durability is low, and on its break hit it gains another 2 times multiplier. If you stack this with a level 3 attack buff from food, then this will add another 1.5 times multiplier. Finally, the game has a hidden modifier on two-handed weapons that divides their total damage output by 0.95. This means the weapon will do 1034 damage per hit, making it the highest damage melee weapon in the entire game. All of these mechanics can be abused infinitely on Lynels because weapons won't take durability damage when you're mounted on a Lynel's back. As far as Lynel hunting and farming goes, this is the best weapon in the game. But aside from Lynel hunting, the most practicality it has is to deal a significant amount of damage one time, which is why it's number 4 in this list, even though I do love this weapon. To get the Pristine Royal Guard's Claymore, fly north of Lookout Landing and land on Hyrule Castle. Once you get to the gates, head inside, run up this left stairwell, go to the second floor, and jump behind this pile of rubble. Break the Worn version to unlock Pristine. Once you've done this, there's a spawn point for it to the west of the Corum Light Route. To get to the Corum Light Route, you can go in the East Hill Chasm here, drop in, and go to the west in the depths. Once you're here, head to where my waypoint is on the map, and there will be a soldier who has a chance to hold it. If you make a save before coming in render distance of the soldier, then you can just reload your save and re-roll until you find it. You can also make a save before you pick it up, and reload that save to re-roll any stat upgrades that it has on it. This works for all Pristine weapons. I put the Pristine Eightfold Blade at number 3. This weapon has the improved Sneak Strike weapon skill, which doubles your Sneak Strike multiplier. With a plus 10 attack upgrade and a silver Lynel Saberhorn, this weapon has a base of 80 damage. Couple this with a massive Sneak Strike multiplier, which goes from the game's base of 8 to 16 with this weapon, and you'll have a massive 1280 damage per Sneak Strike. That means with this weapon, any enemy that can be Sneak Striked can be taken out in a single hit with this weapon. The strongest enemy able to be Sneak Striked being the Silver Boss Bokoblin with 1200 health. If you combo this with Puff Shrooms, you can easily take out any normal enemy in the game. You can make really good use of this by getting the Forest Dwellers weapons, which have fuse recycling, meaning that you can use one single fused item over and over again on them. These are located in the Korok Forest. If you go into the center of the Great Deku Tree, you can use Ascend 2 times in the center of the tree. Once you get to the top of the tree, talk to the Korok and he'll say he's hidden some things. These are both of the Forest Dwellers weapons. The first one is up here, and then the second one is down here behind this branch. You can fuse a Puff Shroom to either of these so you can keep reusing it and always be in stealth, so you can always get sneak strikes. Back to the Eightfold Blade though, the reason that this weapon isn't higher on the list is because most bosses can't be sneak striked, and even Lynels, which aren't technically bosses, still can't be sneak striked. This means that the Eightfold Blade is basically a low tier weapon when it comes to dealing with bosses or Lynels. And even though you can massacre normal enemies with this, you'll find yourself using Puff Shrooms a lot, which can get kind of annoying. When it comes to finding the Eightfold Blade, you can find it off of Yiga foot soldiers, which are all throughout the depths, but if you want an insured spot to find them, you can go to the Gerudo Highlands Skyview Tower and drop in this canyon to the east in front of the Yiga clan hideout. If you go up to the door, which there might be someone in front of it, just talk to him until he goes away, and then talk to the person at the door. Then when you talk to the person at the door, they'll come out and fight you. Fight the people who come out, and the two little guys will be holding Eightfold blades. Then once you get the Eightfold blade, you just want to break it to unlock the Pristine version. Once you've done this, wait a blood moon and go down into the depths to the Sosei light route, and where I'm standing on the map, that's one spawn point for it. Then over here is another spawn point for it. So there are two really close together. This one's a little tricky to get to because it's up on top of a cliff in the depths. If you haven't been here yet, in reference to the Dueling Peak stable, there's a chasm up here, and you can follow this path that my cursor takes. You'll run into a cliff once you're really close to the light route and just climb up it to get there. I put the light scale trident in the number 2 spot. It was really hard to decide what would go in the number 2 spot and the number 1 spot here, and this was in the number 1 spot until I did some testing. I think the reason this fell out of the number 1 spot is because of a hidden variable in the game, but even with the hidden variable, it's incredibly powerful. To get the most out of the light scale trident, I fused a silver Lionel saber horn to give it a base attack of 77. After this, I wore an attack boost armor set to give a 1.5 times multiplier. Then I activated its special weapon skill by gaining the wet status by using the Water Sage's ability. This gives another 2 times multiplier. Then finally, the game's hidden damage modifier for spears comes in, which divides all of that by 1.33. This means each hit will do 174 damage, which is massive damage for how quickly this weapon attacks. On top of that, the light scale trident has the highest durability of any weapon in the game with 70 durability. Add in the factor of the spear's extremely long reach and you have a very deadly weapon. The biggest downside of this weapon is that you need to maintain wet status if you want to keep your maximum damage, but if you have this weapon then you have the Water Sage, and each time you apply his buff, you'll maintain wet status for about 50 seconds. Obviously being in water and rain also work, and additionally you can throw a splash fruit at yourself if you want to gain the wet status. To get the light scale trident, you need to complete the main quest at Zora's Domain as well as complete the water temple. Once you've done that, head over here in the main plaza, come into this shop and talk to Dento, and he'll make you one for 3 diamonds, a Zora spear, and 5 pieces of flint. You can find the diamonds from stone taluses, especially the higher level stone taluses like the Igneo and Frost Talus. You can also get them from shrines or from rare ore deposits. The Zora spear can come from the chests inside of like-likes and caves near Zora's Domain. There's also a guaranteed Zora spear for freeing the Zora that's near the lookout tower in this region, and is trapped in sludge. Finally, at number 1 I put Scimitar the 7. This weapon gets double fuse damage for anything that you fuse to it. This means a fused silver Lionel saber horn will do 110 extra damage. Couple this with an attack up armor set for a 1.5 times multiplier, and the Scimitar will do 207 damage each hit. This weapon's charge attack also makes it great for clearing big groups of enemies. Also, frozen enemies take 3 times damage. Let's get more into why I put this in the number 1 spot over the light scale trident. I'll start off by showing a damage and DPS comparison. One of the damage comparisons I did was on the Flame Gleeok. I did this about 15 times with each weapon, and these were my 2 fastest kills. Something important to note here is that the light scale trident obviously has more burst damage at the cost of stamina consumption, but overall the DPS is pretty similar. Also, when you're using the charge attacks in order to utilize the light scale trident's full DPS, you leave yourself more vulnerable due to being stuck in the stabbing animation for longer, but the light scale trident also has reach advantage over the Scimitar. The light scale trident also has 70 durability versus the Scimitar's 60 durability. The true deciding factor for me though, which is why I put the Scimitar at number 1, was because you can use a shield with the Scimitar. This is a huge advantage when fighting bosses or tough enemies, because you can block attacks to save yourself or give yourself space, and you can also hold up your shield and block while side hopping or backflipping in order to get flurry rush attempts without being able to be punished as much. To get the Scimitar the 7, you first need to beat the main questline at Gerudo Town and beat the Lightning Temple. Once you've done that, go into the gem shop in Gerudo Town and talk to this woman. Ask her about the owner and she'll give a hint that the owner's at the Taruma Dunes. And to get to the Taruma Dunes, you just need to go to the west of Gerudo Town, out here. Then once you're out here, you'll see the smoke, and that's where she is. You have to kill the Molduga to save her. Throw an explosive in the sand to lure it out. And this time I'll attack its stomach. I saw some of you upset in the comments last time because I was attacking its head. I'm not sorry, but I will attack it in the stomach this time to make it go faster. Then you just talk to the lady you saved and she'll go back to the jewelry shop in Gerudo Town. Make sure to loot the chest because the Molduga can drop the Gerudo shield and the Gerudo scimitar, which you'll need both of. After this, you just need to go back to the gem shop and talk to the lady you saved. You'll get a diamond as a reward for this. Talk to the owner again, and she'll offer to make you the Scimitar of the Seven and the Daybreaker shield for 4 diamonds, 10 pieces of flint, a Gerudo shield, and a Gerudo scimitar. Again, you can get the diamonds from the high level Talus enemies or shrines, as well as getting them from rare ore deposits. And I would say the easiest way to get Gerudo shield and Gerudo scimitar is to just kill Moldugas. Once you have everything, come back and turn it in, and she'll give you the Scimitar of the Seven and Daybreaker shield. There are Moldugas at each of these map markers I'll show you. I'll also put exact coordinates to all of them in the description. Another trick is that you can save before you kill the Molduga and then just reload before you killed it to re-roll your chest that you get. Now, as I said earlier, I'll show you how to repair the legendary weapons. First, you need to take off your fuse material either at Terrytown or just break the fuse material. And then you need to drop your weapon and fuse it to a non-legendary weapon or shield. Once you have it fused to a non-legendary weapon or shield, all you need to do is drop that thing that you fused it to in front of a rock Octorok. Walk away from it and let the rock Octorok suck it up. And he will repair the weapon as well as the shield. Once you get it back, they'll still be fused together. In order to undo this, you need to take it to Terrytown in order for it to be broken down so you can separate your weapon from whatever you fused it to. Here's where Terrytown is on the map for anyone who hasn't been here before. It's on the east side, kind of northeast in the map. You're just going to find this baby Goron, give him the item that you fused your legendary weapon to. He'll break it down. When you pick it up, it'll be fully repaired. Finally, if you want to make extra copies of your weapon, you can dupe your weapon by shocking yourself at the same moment you place your weapon on a weapon display, just like that. So if you get shocked in the same frame that you're placing the weapon, then it will be duped. You do need a house and a display to do this though. Here are my house's displays where I keep backups of my weapons. That's it for this video. I'd like to thank Echocolat for information on the game's internal mechanics that he used for the damage calculations, and also for the Molduga coordinates that I'll have in the description. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to like it and subscribe for more.